Our DEI host, Chelsea Handler. So it is important in times like these to have a distraction. And that's why I want to personally extend my gratitude to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Ryan Ralph, how's it going?
Great. Why, what have you heard?
The Critics' Choice Awards are usually a night of glitz, glamour, and Hollywood's finest patting each other on the back, but this year, Chelsea Handler walked in with a flamethrower, and her primary targets? Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Handler didn't just throw shade, she roasted their legal drama in front of the entire industry. With her signature deadpan delivery and razor-sharp timing, she looked out into the star-studded crowd and dropped a line so brutal it had the whole room in stitches.
Thank you for providing us with that distraction. I'm grateful. I think we're all grateful. And I think we're good.
The crowd was absolutely cracking up. They were loving it and losing it at the same time. Celebrities were doubling over in laughter, applause echoed across the room, and within minutes, the clip exploded across social media. But the interesting thing? Nobody saw it coming. Sure, everyone in that room knew Chelsea Handler doesn't hold back, but even Hollywood's most seasoned A-listers weren't prepared for that level of savagery. And just when it seemed like she'd let up, Handler went in for the kill.
I think everybody in this room, no matter whose side you're on, we can all agree to accept that there's probably not going to be a sequel. It ends with us, guys.
Ouch. That was a pretty brutal punchline and one that landed perfectly. It's crazy how she managed to drop such a bomb with a straight face, but that's Handler for you. This wasn't just a roast, it was a public execution of Lively's pity party. The message was clear. Hollywood is done playing along with her narrative. The industry, the media, and even the audience at home, they're all over it. Blake and her team must be reeling right now.
Khaleesi and her dragons must be reeling right now.
This is literally just happening out in Hollywood. The Critics' Choice Awards happen. Chelsea Handler is hosting it. I don't think Blake Lively is going to like.
Now, let's be real. Lively has spent months trying to control the narrative, painting herself as the victim in this never-ending soap opera. But when Chelsea Handler, one of Hollywood's most unapologetic voices, casually turned her into a punchline in front of her peers, that sent a very clear message. Lively doesn't have Hollywood's sympathy anymore. At least, not from the people in that room.
She does make fun of Justin and Blake, but the fact that she's making fun of it at all shows she doesn't believe.
Exactly. If Lively and Baldoni had been there, Handler wouldn't have held back one bit. In fact, she probably would have doubled down just to watch them squirm. That woman thrives on eye contact. But since they weren't in attendance, you just know Lively was at home, curled up on her couch, doom-scrolling through Twitter, watching Hollywood openly mock her in real time. And let's be real, this wasn't just a throwaway joke for a cheap laugh. This was a Hollywood temperature check. If Handler's joke had been met with an awkward silence, that would have said something. But the fact that some of the biggest names in the industry burst into laughter without hesitation, that speaks volumes. Blake Lively spent years building her brand as America's sweetheart. But after this, Hollywood isn't buying the act anymore.
And I think that's incredibly telling. And to see Hollywood celebrities in this room laughing at it and agreeing with her that, like, we're over this, stop, Blake, this wasn't worth it.
If there's one thing Chelsea Handler is known for, it's saying the things everyone else is too afraid to say. She spent years dragging Hollywood, from the Kardashians' over-the-top antics to scandals that PR teams work overtime to bury. No one is safe. If you're making headlines for all the wrong reasons, Chelsea will call you out. She is a comedian with zero filters. Handler didn't just roast Lively and Baldoni, she exposed them. And the most telling part? Nobody in that audience looked uncomfortable. There were no gasps, no awkward silences, no one rushing to defend Lively's honor. Just pure, unfiltered laughter. To Justin, Baldoni, and Blake Lively, thank you. And that's the real story here. For months, Lively has been pushing a carefully crafted narrative, painting herself as the victim, framing Baldoni as the villain, and dragging her famous friends into the drama to keep the public on her side. She wanted the world to see her as a wronged woman fighting for justice. But Chelsea's roast made one thing painfully clear. Hollywood doesn't see this as a serious, career-ending scandal anymore. They see it as a joke, a messy, embarrassing, tabloid-fueled distraction from the real industry stories that actually matter. If there was ever a moment for Hollywood to publicly show Lively some support, this was it. But instead, they laughed. And that's why this moment was bigger than just one joke. This wasn't just Chelsea being funny, this was Hollywood sending a message. A message that says, we're done entertaining Lively's story. And for someone like Blake, who has spent her entire career curating a flawless, untouchable image, this is an absolute PR nightmare. Because in showbiz, the moment you become a joke, you're done. Everybody in this room, no matter whose side you're on, can all agree to accept that there's probably not going to be a sequel. If you thought the roast was brutal, wait until you hear how ugly this legal war has gotten. Let's rewind for a second, because this scandal didn't start at the Critics' Choice Awards. It goes way back. At one point, he leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear and down her neck as he said, "It smells so good." This whole saga began with a film that was supposed to be a career-defining moment for both Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Lively, who was a co-star in the film, was banking on this project to solidify her serious Hollywood credentials. Baldoni, the film's star and director, saw it as his big step up, but instead of award nominations and critical acclaim, they got into one of the nastiest Hollywood feuds in recent memory. Lively dropped a bombshell lawsuit accusing Baldoni of sexual harassment and orchestrating a malicious smear campaign against her. But Baldoni, he wasn't about to let that slide. He clapped back immediately, filing a $400 million defamation lawsuit against Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds. That's more than 10 times the couple's net worth. Oh, and let's not forget he dropped a $250 million suit against the New York Times, too. Yup, Baldoni wasn't playing around with the numbers. He went for the 3 juggernauts all at once. And then Baldoni is now counter-suing. He sued the New York Times for $250 million. He claims that Ryan Reynolds aggressively berated him, and boom, what was once a case of a Hollywood actor accused of misconduct became something much bigger. It wasn't just about Baldoni's reputation anymore, it was about Lively's credibility, her entire public image, and the power plays happening behind the scenes. And it's just disgusting. When you go after someone, you try to destroy their life, and actually the evidence shows something different. Blake Lively was no victim here, the one getting roasted. But the timing, that's everything. Because by the time Handler took the stage, Lively's claims were already crumbling under serious scrutiny. All thanks to Baldoni's camp, undeniable receipts, and a wave of bad press. What we did see about Blake Lively when the film came out this past summer was not organic. It was totally orchestrated by Justin and his team. And they've gotten their hands on a bunch of texts, especially amongst the PR team, but a couple involving Justin that seemed to suggest they were ready to, quote, destroy her. While Lively's camp claimed they got their hands on text messages that proved Baldoni actually ordered his PR team to smear her name, Baldoni's camp responded in kind, releasing screenshots of text messages with timestamps that proved the claims to be false. These receipts ended up playing a vital role in what came next. And then, the hit piece had a bunch of text messages and emails between Baldoni and his PR team. Baldoni ended up being dropped from William Morris Agency, which is one of the biggest agencies in the world. Lively claimed that she missed hosting SNL. There were so many instances of Baldoni's misconduct that Blake filed in her lawsuit that will make you wonder what she was thinking. But one of the strangest was the breastfeeding comment scandal. According to Blake, Baldoni made inappropriate, uncomfortable remarks while she was breastfeeding on set. To be honest, that would be really wild if it were true, but luckily for Baldoni, he had receipts, and guess what? They didn't just contradict Lively's claim, they showed that she was the one who couldn't stop talking about breastfeeding. She said both men repeatedly entered her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding. Imagine if Baldoni didn't save the chats where Lively was talking about breastfeeding her child in the trailer. In fact, it was the text message that showed clearly that it was Lively who permitted Baldoni to enter her trailer, even though she was breastfeeding at the time. She said, "He came in my trailer while I was breastfeeding.